And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Daily Field here at Frank R. Campbell Stadium for the 2018 homecoming game, women's soccer game between the Bishops of N.C. Wesleyan and your Averett University Cougars. I'm Davin Wilson here on the call tonight. As always, I'm joined by my good friend, confidant, partner in crime, Mr. Eddie Glenn Jr. over there. Eddie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. It's always going to be, I know it's going to be a good game if you're with me. You only show up for the classics. So it's going to be a great game. And, of course, it is homecoming, so there's excitement in the atmosphere.
There is, and Eddie definitely can relate to you on that classic. The way my knees feel this morning, had to work a couple of high school games last night, so I definitely feel like I'm old enough to be considered classic right now. So.
No, you're young enough to play in the high school games.
I wish. I'm not trying to keep up with those kids. I need a cane or something like that, or one of those hoverboards or something. So, but anyway, back to the action here, because Eddie and I we can do this all day. We've been on the ones and twos for about 2 years now.
Just about.
Primarily football. I think this is one of the very few times I've actually called a soccer game with you.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be the second soccer game, only the second soccer game. Like you said, primarily football and basketball, but it's always fun, no matter the sport, lacrosse, baseball, softball, football or basketball or women's soccer. It's always fun broadcasting with you.
Yes, sir, it is. And getting to bring everybody here, the listeners on the Averett Sports Network, this action from what really should shape up to be a good conference matchup here between these two schools. NC Wesleyan comes in at 2-3-1 on the season. They are opening the USA South Conference play here today against the Cougars, and Averett is as well, as Averett comes into this game with a 2-7 record. The Cougars are Eddie. They're looking to end a 3-game skid after dropping a close 2-0 contest at Brevard College on Sunday, and meanwhile NC Wesleyan is looking to make it 2 in a row after they slid by Johnson & Wales. Well, I think that's probably an understatement looking at the score, slid by, but in a 4-0 victory in that game. So NC Wesleyan right now, they do hold the all-time series edge between the two sides. And Averett actually, their last victory came down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, not too far from where you're from, Eddie, back in 2016 with a 1-0 victory.
And it's definitely, like you said, going to shape up to be a good game. Even though the Cougars are on a 3-game skid here, opening up conference play always adds a little bit of oomph to your play and to your style of play out there on the pitch. And not only is it opening up conference play, but it is homecoming. So these ladies have every reason in the world to go out there and play their best soccer they played all year.
And I think that's exactly what they're going to do here. And, one thing I'm anxious to see, this is actually my first women's soccer game, is, whether or not Averett will continue that quick 1-2 pass combination, touch pass combination that they implemented under former head coach Sarah Chapman. So, it'll be interesting to see if that style of play develops, because that's always a very very lethal attack when it comes to soccer. You keep up the quick pace and, catch defenses sleeping, and but it takes a lot of mental toughness as well.
And it's gonna have to come from ladies like Rosa Morales as well as Kirsten Clancy, both Clancy a junior and Morales a senior. So they are veterans on this team, on this young team. We have a lot of freshmen on this team. So it's going to come from them being good leaders and showing these girls how to play in conference, how to keep their head on straight, because we all know once you get into conference, games get chippy. And so how to keep their heads on straight and how to take the right shots at the right time and know when to pass the ball.
That's it. And, we were talking earlier here just before we went on the air about, you make one too many passes, you're not going to score, or if you don't make enough passes, you're not going to score. So, it's definitely a fine line that you walk being a soccer player. And so we're excited to see how this women's matchup is going to shape out. And we're going to go ahead and jump on the starting lineups thanks to English Construction. First off, for the home team Cougars, you've got number 0, Bailey Brown, the senior, in goal here today. And then you have Kirsten Clancy, number 5. She will get the starting nod up front, along with Redden, the forward midfielder. Then Caitlin Barber Emily Metter, and then Jennifer Silva, Rosa Morales, we were talking about her earlier, Adriana Perez, Tanya Hernandez, Lauren Cowling, Ashley Rulo, and Linnea Meyer. So, Eddie, we're going to let you throw it over now and take a rundown of the Battling Bishops starting.
And just a quick note before I get started on that lineup, let's give a hand clap to Bailey Brown, number 0 in goal, the Averett all-time leader in saves for women's soccer. She added that record just weeks ago, and she's got a whole season to play. So not only has she broke that record, she's just going to keep adding to it as much as she can, almost like Drew Brees does with every record he breaks. Bailey Brown is going to make that record as hard as possible for anyone in the coming future to break. So just a hand clap to her and her hard work in practice to keep that skill up and be the best at it.
And she really is. I mean, she has been here from since 2014, and has been a integral part of this Cougars defense from her arrival here. And she's a leader, and she's just she's a fine athlete and a fine woman as well.
And like you said, I do have the starting lineup for North Carolina Wesleyan, the Battling Bishops. Starting off in goal will be 00 Alicia Jacobs, then number 4 Madeline Williams, number 8 is Erica Linhart, number 9 Maggie Rankin, number 11 is Nania Brown, 17 will be Victoria Burkhart, number 25 is Emily Sullivan, 26 Sarah Cook, number 32 is Jordan Forbes, 33 is Anna Stribling, and 38 sophomore forward Sydney Nichols, coached by Beverly, Bianca, and then assistant coach, former Averett assistant coach, Cole Orner. So definitely interesting. I know it's fun for him to be back, especially on homecoming at his former school that he coached at.
Yes, and Eddie, it's always funny when you see an NC Wesleyan player come over to Averett, or an Averett player coach come over to NC Wesleyan, because they really do kind of serve as a pipeline for each other. You've got David Duino, the current head coach, basketball coach, and then you had a couple of his old assistant coaches, David Gerganis, and then you also had Cornelius Snow.
Right.
So there's a lot of kind of sharing between these two schools when it comes to coaches and graduate assistants and that kind of fun stuff.
And not only is it a pipeline, but it's a quality pipeline. When you talk about coaches like Orner and Duino and Snow and Garganos, it's quality coaches that really make an impact on and off the field and shaping their players.
It does. In both schools, they're very high integrity programs and really place the sportsmanship and the competition, really kind of takes a back seat, but it does take a back seat when it comes to respect and building players of strong character and integrity and all the things that you want out of your athletes.
Definitely. And speaking on that, the men's basketball team yesterday actually took a trip, men's basketball and wrestling team, took a trip out to Tunstall Middle School and had lunch with all the members of the Tunstall Middle School class, and just talked with them about respect and what it takes to be a college student, or even just a middle school student, for them and their little short attention spans. But, you can make a kid's day just by going to eat lunch with them. That's something they'll remember for the rest of their life.
It is, and, it's something that's always good for the players, too, because, I think sometimes, you have a tendency to not realize, the effect that you could have on some kids' lives as an athlete or as a member of the media or, whatever, because, I think we have a tendency sometimes to, to forget the kind of influence we can have in others' lives. But we're actually going to take a quick pause for the national anthem here. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. House of Pains Jump Around is playing, so that can only mean one thing, that we are getting ready to kick off some action here at Daly Field as Averett is getting ready to start its homecoming matchup against NC Wesleyan. And Eddie, I always get amazed looking over at that old press box and and just thinking, when I started here in 2014, that's what we used. And it was a hazard area. You never left without splinters in your hand, and it was like a pet cemetery in there.
I guess luckily, and maybe sometimes unluckily, I never got the chance to broadcast over it. I've only been over there one time, and it's one of my first days here as a freshman. I went to use the restroom and couldn't find it. But I know I hurried out of there once I got in. But
yeah, you definitely will. But, just really looking over there and then, seeing and then being in this nice press box right now, this nice complex that we have, I mean, it's really a big difference. We got heat in here so you don't freeze during the winter. Got a little air conditioning so you don't burn up in the summer.
And it's definitely a testament to our sponsors and our donors. They are the ones that are able to make us make these huge improvements to our school and to our athletics facility and keep not only our athletes but the other athletes safe as well. As that's where this new turf came from as well.
That's it. And, with this new turf, I mean, especially in a game like soccer where, 90% of the game, the ball stays on the ground. And as somebody who's played soccer, when it gets sloshy and it runs through all that grass and everything else like that, the ball gets waterlogged. It's hard to do anything, and then it's hard to keep your footing. But hopefully we won't have to worry about that here today, as Averett will take the kick. Ball goes out of bounds.
And I will say one thing that this Lady Cougars team can work on, and that I believe they will work on this game, is keeping possession of the ball. That's a huge thing in soccer. Normally, a lot of the times, unless you're playing Spain or Germany, if you win possession, you're going to win the game just because you have control of the ball and what to do with it.
That's it, and so much of the game is won and lost in the midfield. The midfielders have they're kind of the quarterbacks on the soccer field. They have the best view of the action. And NC Wesleyan trying to stage an attack right now, but a nice play there from Silva. Clear it out, of course. NC Wesleyan will get the throw-in on about the football 20.
Daly Field getting this workout in the past couple of days with the men's soccer game. And here comes Wesleyan. They are in the box. Ground crosser sent in, and Wesleyan, just like that, unless there's a flag held up, they have got on the board with the first goal of the game.
And that was Cindy Nichols on the assist. We're trying to catch a number real quick for the goal scorer. Looks like number 26, Sarah Cook, got the goal. Nichols took the ball on the throw-in down the right side of the wing, kind of cut it into the box, made that diagonal run that you're always trying to achieve, and got the ball over to her attacker in the middle, and it's quickly 1-0.
And just a great play by Nichols, honestly, to shield the ball on the throw-in away from the defender, and then turn outside and find her player. Dribble just enough to pull Blake out of goal, and dribble past her and make the correct pass. Is just a testament to her skills out here on the pitch.
It is, and that's one of the things that you're always looking for. In soccer, trying to get the ball out to the wings, really draw the defense out there and, get it into a 2-1 matchup or a 3-1 matchup. And, that's what NC Wesleyan did right there and, got a goal out of it. So Wesleyan quickly back on the attack with a through ball over the middle. 1-2 touch soccer right now. That's number 9, Rankin. And that's going to go out of bounds as Rankin cannot rein it in with her feet. And that will go out for an Averett throw-in.
And the Cougars have to be careful here as they are not out of the clear. That a throw-in in enemy attacking territory is not in your favor.
And that's a nice play there from Rulo. So that's Redden. So Redden tries to cross it over, but a nice play over there by Rankin.
And here comes Wesleyan. And it looked like they might have been trying to find Nichols, but didn't get the right angle on the pass.
And that's a lot of what we were talking about just a second ago, that diagonal pass, trying to square the ball up. And, that's how chances are created. So Rankin, she's going to try to send that ball over to number 4, Williams, but a little bit too much sauce on it.
And just the smallest infliction on your foot can change the whole course of the ball. It's why it's so impressive from what the professional soccer players can do and how they can lace their passes through any kind of defense. But the smallest angle change, and it's why you have to lock your foot, really lock your ankle when you're making those passes and guide that ball through with your foot.
Well, and you're right, Eddie. I mean, soccer is definitely a chess game. It's trying to fit the right pieces of the puzzle in there. And I guess you can really say that about any sport, but it definitely is that way with soccer, especially on the offensive end of things. And Hernandez cannot keep up with that one, and it goes out of bounds for a Wesleyan throw-in. And a lot of what Wesleyan is doing right now is, as far as pass-wise, is a lot of what Averett will try to do as well when they can put together a string of 2 or 3 solid passes.
And Davin, just looking out on the field, I don't see our friendly neighborhood tri-sport athlete Rosa Morales on the pitch. Looks like she's over on the bench area. Hope she's okay, but she's definitely a big leader on this team, a rock in the defense. Hope everything's okay with her, and maybe Coach McTeague is just getting a freshman some experience, some good conference experience here.
And, Morales, she, like you said, she's a very tough defender, but she's very quick, too. It allows her to get up to the midfield area, the middle of the field, and really kind of be more of a defensive midfielder at times as well, and, really kind of try to create chances, in the front 4.
And here's Averett with a throw-in, and they're attacking third of the field. Cowling will take the throw, and again, cleared out by Wesleyan. Cougars just patiently moving their way down the field with these throw-ins.
And there's another throw over the middle. Cougars with an opportunity, but it's going to roll out of bounds. And, Eddie, I believe there was a 50 Cent song that came out a couple years ago, Waiting for a Track, Patiently Waiting. And you're definitely right with that being the same case in soccer. And Averett trying to, just create those small little opportunities.
You definitely always come ready with the pop culture references. Never run out.
Hey, I got to do what I got to do. So. So Wesleyan with the ball on the far side of the field.
And, Devin, I actually guess this would be a good time to mention to the fans, since we haven't done it already, the Cougars are wearing their gray-on-white uniforms, and Wesleyan in the blue-on-blue fadeaway. I know that can get confusing if you're a Cougar fan, as we do have navy blue uniforms as well. So, again, the Cougars are in the gray-on-white, and Wesleyan in the navy blue-on-blue.
And see, some of those tri-colored uniforms, they can get very tricky for sports information directors. Of course, Wesleyan has the white font and the white lettering on the back of their jersey, so it makes it a lot easier to see. But
a ground crosser sent in. Wesleyan not out of danger. This header being bounced around in the box.
Hernandez doing what needs to be done right there, just trying to control the ball, kind of keep the ping-pong type style of soccer to a minimum. And there's a rip, but it's going to be right at Jacobs.
And that was Emily Metter, the sophomore. I don't know if you saw her at the top of the box. Dribbled past 2 defenders and made the right pass to set the Cougars up for a cross. Metter doing a good job. But the Cougars, again, those are chances that you need to actually build your confidence early in the game.
And Averett has shown here in the last few minutes that they can move the ball with that 1-2 touch philosophy. And there's a little bit of a run-in down there. So that's going to be number 20, Rulo. Ball kind of being played around in the middle right now. Both teams trying to establish possession. And finally, Silva just says, I'm tired of this, and gets rid of it.
And the Cougars have a chance here with the goalkeeper out of the goal. And Jacobs does a good job.
I think Hernandez maybe needed one or two more touches on that, maybe cut it out to the left.
And I think Hernandez might have been throwing dice around in her head, trying to figure out if she wanted to chip the keeper or if she wanted to try and bend that ball around her, and kind of, couldn't decide when it came time for the kick. But I definitely think in that situation is a time to send one over the keeper's head and let it trickle its way into the goal. But, again, those are chances that the Cougars need to, again, build confidence to let the Cougars know, okay, we can get shots on goal here, ladies. We can do this thing.
Well, one of the hardest things in soccer, Eddie, I know when I played it, it's so tough when you get that opportunity in front of goal. I mean, you have so many thoughts and so many emotions and all this stuff running through your head because you very rarely get a one-on-one opportunity with the goalkeeper in soccer. So it's it's definitely one of those things that you have to be able to.
And being an attacker or anyone who's taking a shot really in soccer, you got to kind of be like a quarterback and have short memory. If you send in a great shot that you think is going in and the keeper just snags it out of the air, you got to be able to forget it and send in the next quality shot here in the next few minutes. You got to have that quarterback short-term memory loss thing going if you're attacking in soccer.
You do because it's very hard to create those opportunities, and a lot of the times you got to put through about 4 or 5. You got to connect with 4 or 5 good passes to really get an opportunity to score. Ball played out on the wing right now. Another nice ball down the right side. Had a little bit too much lead on it, though. Wesleyan trying to reset, unable to do so, though, as the Cougars are pushing up here.
I was about to say the Cougars slowly but surely making their way up the field with the ball.
And, Eddie, you look, too, as soon as the ball is being challenged, they each kind of start heading back. And we're going to have a substitution here.
And I think that's actually Morales coming in.
And that is...
Yep, Rosa Morales.
Yes, it is Morales.
Making her way into the game. And again, Morales, such a good player on the field. I'm sure Coach McTeague is licking her chops to get Morales back on the field, whatever the issue may have been, to get Morales on the field. And I know the rest of her team is glad she's out there. But, again, another good chance for a freshman to get in and get some in-conference experience against a quality team like Wesleyan.
And that ball is played over top, though. That won't be much of a challenge for Morales, though. And she will send that one out of bounds. Looked like it might have, ricocheted off her Rankin a little bit. But so a nice one-touch pass there from Sullivan. Averett's defense ready for it, though.
And I tell you what, Kirsten Clancy is another defender who can really come up and play in the midfield. And last year we actually saw her towards the 60th minute in the game. She would actually move into a forward position so where she could make more passes and get on the ball a lot more and send more shots. And she actually takes free kicks from about the football 45 and sends them into the box. So she does possess a lot of power in those legs.
She does. And, she was one that came in and, she never got a ton of starting time her freshman season, but she definitely factored in very heavily to the Cougars formula that season, and she's been productive ever since.
And a lot of times, I know I mentioned this a lot on broadcast, making the switch from high school sports to college, and it is a step up from high school to college. It's not the same. It's a step up in competition and level of play. So a lot of players need that freshman season to kind of get a feel for, okay, this is how I need to play. It's not high school ball anymore. But definitely there's nothing wrong with taking that first season and really learning what it takes to be a college athlete.
Yeah, and it is. It's a lot different pace in the game. Your players are smarter, and the competition level really seems to even out when you get to the college level because everybody on that field has earned their right to be where they're at. So that is Sullivan right now. That ball is crossed over, and there's a lot of green and white over there. You see Wesleyan currently with possession. Nice square ball over, but nobody there. They say 1 is the loneliest number, but I think 0 was the loneliest right there, as Wesleyan had no defenders waiting for that through ball.
And I do want to mention November 2nd, we're going to have the Harlem Globetrotters here in Danville, over in the Grant Center, actually. So if you are in the area, if you've never seen the Harlem Globetrotters, it is a great experience. I'm going to go on November 2nd, so it's a heck of an experience to see a great basketball team, a world-renowned basketball team coming into Danville. So if you get the chance, definitely come out and support the Globetrotters.
I did not know that. I know the last time they came through, Eddie, it was a freezing cold night. I think it was about 10 to 20 degrees out there, and I remember having to I was a GA at the time, and I remember having to stand out in the parking lot and take parking money. And we had to do shifts and everything because we all just turned into blocks of ice out there. But it was a fun experience. I actually didn't get to enjoy a lot of the Globetrotters game. The men's basketball team had a game that night, and I had to get back into the office and write that. But I did get an autographed basketball out of it.
Oh, man. And the Cougars playing around with the ball in their attacking third, but Clancy able to get to it as NC Wesleyan clears it out. Clancy trying to get it out to a teammate. Clancy not letting anything come into her defense.
No, that was a good play right there, too. Not only to get the clearance, but she also looked up, knew where her players were, and tried to get it over in the vicinity. And Wesleyan right now living a little dangerously.
And Clancy's everywhere. She's a center back, but she is everywhere right now. Playing up in the midfield, as we mentioned earlier, almost past half field was she out there defending players.
And Eddie, I just looked down and saw Redden as a senior, Morales as a senior, Cowlings as a senior.
And Cowlings, another defender who plays that right back position so well. And like you said, Cowling possesses so much speed at that right back position, and she can chase down virtually any wing player. And Cowling's such a good player. This Averett defense is really good and really stout. It makes it really hard for players to get in and passes to get through. And if you're lucky enough to get a pass through or a player to break free, you've got to get the ball past Bailey Blake, who's an absolute brick wall in front of the goal.
And Bailey Brown really doing a great job, too, of coming out on that last one. And really, that is a moment for a keeper that takes a lot of soccer intelligence, because obviously you have to time that just right. If you don't time that just right, it's going to create a very easy opportunity for your opposing offense. And so Brown using good judgment right there, knowing that was her ball and it was her right to claim. So Wesleyan trying to keep the ball on its half of the field right now. After Averett had really kind of started to work the ball in a little bit, started to connect on some passes, make those diagonal runs, really make things happen. And Wesleyan has done a good job of adapting, and they've been able to control possession a little bit more. Nice ball sent down the far wing over on the right side. And I believe that is Stribling with the ball over on the left side. So that was number 4, Williams, trying to make something happen. Averett's defense there to make a nice play.
And the Cougars are able to interrupt passes but not able to keep a hold of possession so far. Definitely something they want to get back on top of. This ball looks like it might roll out. And it stayed in play for a while, but
I think in the end that is going to be ruled as a goal kick. Yes, it will. As Brown will set it at about the 3-yard line. Or actually, not, back in the end zone. Football end zone, that is. And Eddie, I mean, this field itself, I mean, it can host lacrosse, it can host field hockey, it hosts soccer, it hosts football. I mean, you know, a variety of sports, and it's really impressive to come in. And I've been to a lot of the schools in the USA South, and with the exception of maybe Ferrum, I really can't And Brown doing a nice job once again, knowing that that was her time to come out and collecting the loose ball.
And you're definitely right about the variety that this field can host. It's a little bit harder when you have an actual grass field to get a lot more different sports out here. But with the acquisition of the turf field, the Cougars are able to be a lot more diverse in the sports that they're able to hold here and bring here and put on here at Frank R. Campbell Stadium. And they do very well as we added lacrosse, and we have soccer that performs here as well. And like you said, as well as football, this field does get its many uses.
It does. And, it would be interesting to see, exactly, how they would have to manage it to a certain point if both soccer and lacrosse were, played in the same time of year. But that's one less headache that Jason Farrell and his grounds crew have to worry about.
And I was mentioning earlier, this field had its work cut out for him this week, as we had a women's soccer matchup earlier this week, and then yesterday men's soccer, and then today we've got women's soccer and football all on the same day. So all kinds of work being done here on Daly Field, and as you mentioned, the grounds crew got it cut out for them today.
They did, and it's always for homecoming weekend and senior day times, that as a faculty member over here, whether it's sports information or grounds crew or operations, those weekends you are not going to see much of your family, and you're not going to see much of your bed, but you will see a lot of Averett. But
right.
it definitely is well worth the hard effort that goes into it.
And as I know you mentioned ground crew and operations and sports information, and even as a student, you go to class and you go straight to the game, and then you get maybe a little bit of hour break, go get some Chick-fil-A, and then you're back at it again here at Daly Field. And then the next day you wake up in the morning, you got 2 games to broadcast, but there's nothing better than Averett Sports.
And that's it. And I think we've actually bumped into each other quite a bit over at Chick-fil-A. Maybe we need to do a podcast, and they can set it up over there, call it Hit It Over the Chicken Cow or something like that.
And we might even be able to do an actual broadcast on maybe them during a rush hour.
We could do that, play-by-play of the cashier, a little 30 for 30 idea. I like that, Eddie. So there's a loose ball in the backfield. Brown's going to come up, get her hands on it. And she's going to give it the boot. Eddie, that was one thing I loved about playing high school soccer, is the fact that you would get over there and you would have a lot of parents that did not know a whole lot about soccer, because it wasn't a sport they were, raised around or really grew up with. But, one thing, it was always funny to hear from the stands. You always hear somebody go, "Boot it, Johnny, boot it." And there are definitely times where you need to boot it in soccer, but a lot of the time soccer is a lot more, methodical game.
And I know this is what those soccer players wish it was as easy as just boot it.
Yes. Maybe that needs to be soccer's new slogan. 3 words, nice and simple.
Right. But here's Wesleyan playing through the midfield now. Play back into their defense, and the Cougars pressing hard, pressuring everybody that touches the ball.
And that was Sullivan getting a eye full of the Cougars right there, Rankin.
And here's Morales playing, and here's Redding now. If she could play the right ball, and almost does. Redding was almost able to connect with, I believe that's Hernandez over there, for a goal for the Cougars, as Morales stepped up way into the attacking position to defend players.
And, Eddie, I'm just seeing right here, Hernandez is actually a byproduct of my alma mater, George Washington High School, the team that I played for.
And George Washington always puts out quality players and productive members of the city.
They do, and we've got some kind of stoppage over here. We're going to see. I think we might have a sideline warning. I wonder if we're going to have a card produced because of this. Does not look like it.
Looks like there's a sub coming in as well for Wesleyan.
And today is really almost a near perfect day for soccer, though, because you're talking about a sport where you really catch cramps. Soccer is that sport.
And especially your midfielders, you're running almost a mile more than sometimes a game within 90 minutes, and it's back and forth and constant moving. You don't really get to stand still much on a soccer field. And it's not like football where you play for 7 seconds and then you get a break. You play for 7 seconds, you get a break. This is all go all the time.
That's it. And Eddie, I think you and me, we've got another doc, and that ball is played over the top. NC Wesleyan trying to make something happen, but a nice clearance there from Cowling. And Eddie, I think it would be interesting sometimes to maybe slap a Fitbit on a soccer player's wrist and just see how many steps are.
Well, the Fitbit might reach its step limit.
Yes, it might. It might. It would probably hit 10,000 steps within the first 3 minutes.
Right. And the Cougars not totally out of danger here. They do have a corner to defend.
Corner kick, always a dangerous set piece in soccer. Ball curved in over the middle. And a nice one-touch effort there by number 8, Linhart. But in the end, it proves for naught, as Brown will reset for a goal kick. Getting down to about 20 minutes here left in the first half. 1-0 is the score.
And speaking of Cole Arner, just looking here in our 2018 Circle of Champions, he is a Cougar-level donor. He has donated one of those donors we were talking about, especially we want to give a thank you to all the donors, whether you're a Cougar level, varsity level, blue, gold, or platinum level donor. You are the reason our athletics can survive. And Brown in a bad position right now. She is not inside the box. And a good clearance from Morales.
Averett did a great job. His defense recognized that Brown was out, recognized she was out a little off center, automatically recovered back to the middle of the field, to cover any kind of through ball. And Averett now on the counterattack.
Maybe a cross can get sent in. She gets loose. She might send this towards goal, and does. And Jacobs able to get a hold of it. I believe that is Hernandez taking another rip at goal.
And I think one more touch there to the left, and we're going to have a yellow card.
I'm not quite for sure. Maybe there was some chatter on the field.
And that's going to be a free kick for the Cougars.
I wonder if it's going to be.
It's right outside the box.
And you know what, Davin? That is actually quite a confusing call, because usually if there's a penalty or a foul assessed inside the box, which there was, then it results in a penalty kick. So I wonder what the official ruling was or what he saw.
I'm not sure.
Redden steps away from the ball.
We're going to see what we got going on here. So Eddie, having a foul happen or a set piece happen so close to the box like that, that's like being promised a bike on Christmas, and then when you walk downstairs on Christmas morning, the bike's not down there.
Right.
It's a cruel tease.
I definitely wonder what the official ruling was, as Jacobs does pick up a yellow card. So she's going to have to be careful to not pick up another foul, because if she does, she'll be out of the game. As another foul given a card will result in a red card and an ejection. And looking at Wesleyan's bench, I don't see another player in a goalkeeper's jersey, so they would have to put a defender, midfielder, or attacker in position.
So I'm looking at the stats right now, trying to figure out exactly what went down on that play. We know it was a yellow card. We're just trying to.
The only thing I could think of is maybe a little bit of extra chatter.
I mean, that's all it could have been, because everything was clean down in the box.
And there was no players around the goalkeeper who received the foul, the yellow card.
At first, I thought we had the stoppage because of a possible injury to Hernandez, but referee conferring with the line judge over there. And we're still trying to kind of put this one together. Like we said, there's no doubt on the yellow card. Just trying to figure out exactly what the yellow card was for.
Possession will actually be given to North Carolina Wesleyan. Well, this is an odd set of events here. Possession goes back to North Carolina Wesleyan, so there will be no set piece.
So,
But
Eddie,
I wonder if the yellow card is still given to Jacobs or
what's happened now is that Jacobs got the yellow for an unsportsmanlike, but where she got it for the unsportsmanlike, that is not. NC Wesleyan had possession of the ball, so it's not one of those possessions, or it's not one of those fouls that warrants a free kick on Averett's part. But definitely a confusing moment there, a little bit of back and forth, and as Redden stepped to the ball and then stepped away from the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
Redden and Clancy usually the set piece takers for the Cougars.
But nevertheless, the Cougars do have possession of it. Morales will throw it in. Ball played back to Morales. Played into the box area. The Cougars still have a chance to get it here. And I think, will be a goal kick for Jacobs.
A little bit of extracurricular activity going on down there on the right side of the field as both players battling for the ball, battling for field position.
And as we mentioned earlier, it is both teams' opener to conference play. So it's going to be, things could get a little chippy down there.
Could get like a block of ice down there, right?
And here's Jacobs. She will try to send it down the field, but almost a bad situation for Wesleyan. And almost a good play off the header from Hernandez. Almost laying that ball in the right spot for Redden.
So that ball is loose over the middle right now. Will be number 25, Sullivan, claiming it. Rankin will try to put it in the middle. Header back by number 27, Meyer. Meyer, another senior out of Sweden.
And how about that when your whole defense is lined up by three seniors and a junior? Almost nothing better you can ask for from a coach.
Well, Eddie, I believe this was your first year, but I remember I believe it was 2015 or it may have been 2014. No, it was 2015. Averett had not one senior on his team.
Oh, wow.
And it was one of those things that I don't know if I've ever seen that before. And I don't know if I ever will see it again.
Having a team full of freshmen definitely isn't the thing a coach looks for, not for the first year, because you're going to have a lot of those rookie freshman mistakes. But you look forward to the next 4 years because you know your team's going to bond, get that chemistry going, and they're really going to be good in the next year or two and be good for the remainder of their career at the school. So as anything, it comes with negatives and positives.
Yep, just like a battery. So Averett right now with the ball will play that one up, but NC Wesleyan there for the challenge defensively. Sorry we're not a little sharper on the individual players right now, but Eddie, I left my binoculars at the house.
And Clancy able to get in and cut that pass out. And here's Hernandez. Let's see what she can do with it. Tries to play it up to Redden and does. Redden tried to keep it in bounds. Possession actually stays with Averett. 17:30 left on the clock.
Header over the middle.
Cougars stay on top of it. And what a pass, a backheel pass. And here's the Cougars That ball knocked away, but they will get a throw in good position. And Morales might be able to throw this into the box and treat it like a corner. Be interesting to see what she decides to do.
And here it comes.
Does go into the box, but I believe Morales is going to be able to get back to it as it was cut out by a Wesleyan player. But some good battling. And Clancy will step up now, and she's able to get to the ball. Kirsten Clancy, the good hustle and toughness by her.
And Eddie, as you mentioned just a few minutes ago, we're getting down to the final 15 minutes or so of the first half. Make sure to join us on the FMS halftime show, where we've got a lot to talk about. We've had a volleyball tri match last night. As we were talking about earlier, had a former player go up against her head coach as a head coach for the first time last night.
Right. And she was a player for Danny Miller who excelled, an All-American in Nicole Behringer, and she worked her way up the coaching ranks and became a coach with Danny Miller, and then moved her way over to William Peace, and like you said, became a head coach. And what a way for her to come back to her alma mater on homecoming against her old coach and hand him a loss and say, hey, I learned something from you.
And that's it. And, everybody down at William Peace, they're great people. And Kevin Daniel and those guys down there, they've done a great job with their athletic staff. And the same thing in NC Wesleyan. Definitely being sports information people and having your hands full, you definitely share a lot of information back and forth and, try to scratch each other's backs whenever you can. And so we've got some action on the field now.
Hernandez looked like she was taking a shot at goal, but deflected by a defender. So the Cougars will get a throw, and Cowling will step up. And you can see everybody from Averett's midfield and attack within 20 yards of the box.
They're going to be close. They've even got the back third of the line back there pulled up.
The ball deflected into the box, but cleared back out, so the Cougars will get another. Or actually, ball stays in bounds, so Wesleyan trying to play a good ball and get a counterattack going.
And that's exactly why you want to keep your line when the ball is down on your end. You want to keep your and there's a ball played on the right side. Let's see what happens with that. And unfortunately, not much, as the ball will go out of bounds. But that's why you keep that line up there no further than the football 50 or 45, because when you pushed up like any other sport, counterattack is always a danger.
And it can happen in the blink of an eye. Just two good passes from when you're in your attacking half. Two good passes from the other team can really set up and spell disaster for you if you're not ready defensively.
It can, and especially and Rankin a little legal push off there. She's going to play that ball over the middle, and there's going to be a shot on goal from number 21, Crystal Thompson. But Brown up to the challenge.
North Carolina Wesleyan with a rather young team as well. I think I only see two juniors. Everybody else are freshmen and sophomores, and maybe only, I think I counted five or six seniors on the team.
And NC Wesleyan, always a traditionally strong soccer program on both sides, men's and women's. So Redden, she's going to switch fields on that one, squared over the middle.
Jacobs still doesn't have the ball. It's a place where you don't want to be with the goalkeeper chasing the ball in your own box, because you get in a situation where you have no defenders behind you. And so an attacker coming to finish it off.
And so that's going to be number 4, Williams, getting the ball over. There's a little scuffle in the midfield.
And Cowling, that ball gets past her. She keeps a hold of it, though. So Brown.
one thing Wesleyan definitely not doing a lot of times, Eddie, what happens in soccer, you get that early one goal, you kind of start to lay back a little bit and try not to worry so much about attacking, but that has not been Beverly Bianca's philosophy here today. Too many B's.
Cougars desperately trying to get the ball out of their defense. That ball played well for Wesleyan. They're still on top of it.
And there's the ball played on the left side. It will trickle out of bounds, though, for an Averett throw-in. 11:23 left. And, Eddie, one thing we'll have to talk about at halftime, actually a couple of former Averett women's soccer players inducted into the Averett Hall of Fame this morning, Athletics Hall of Fame. Cornelia Milton, women's soccer player from 2010 to 2012, and then also Sandra Johansson from 2010-2013, the year before I arrived. So,
a couple of teammates getting inducted together.
Then, of course, you've got Lindy Beeman. She was a standout softball player and Danville native, played from 99 to 2002. You got Jimmy Allen, who was head basketball coach here from 2004 to 2010.
And Jimmy Allen's actually coaching at Army. The head coach at Army, I believe, is what I saw. So he's going to definitely, I know, another proud accomplishment for him, getting inducted into Averett's Hall of Fame.
Well, and he did. He came over here and took over Averett's program, started to really built on what the Cougars already had established. So some clouds starting to roll in. We can feel some breeze blowing in here in the press box. And so that is Callie, or Rulo, excuse me.
Checking the weather. Luckily, it says no precipitation headed our way.
That is good to hear.
We've had our fair share of precipitation the last 2.5, 3 weeks.
We have. In fact, I think all of us could probably be Olympic swimmers by now, Ed.
And the Cougars, they have the numbers. They're in good play here. Ball played to Red End. She tried to play back to Hernandez, I believe, set her up to just have a one-touch shot. But a battling Bishop defender was there.
A lot of promise in this Averett team being shown here so far, and I think the one thing that I've noticed that's kind of stuck out to me a little bit, Averett needs to be a little bit more patient when it's inside the box. Try to put an extra maybe 1-2 touches on it. Of course, there again, it's very easy for me to say that when I'm up here in the box and not down there on the field.
And here's the Cougars again, cross sent in. Nothing coming of it, but Metter has it. And it squeaks in.
And what a play right there, as that negated an obvious handball on the Bishops in the box. And Metter just came in there, controlled it, took the shot off balance, right-footed, and put it right in the lower 90.
And she comes in, and like you said, she takes it off the chest, lays it down, and great determination by her and patience to take it off the chest. That ball started rolling at a fast speed towards the keeper. Reddy's up and squeaks it right past her. Goes near post as well. Squeaks it right past the goalkeeper in the bottom corner.
And, Eddie, it never fails in soccer when you use that type of attack where you set it up on the wing. You may not always get a goal, but you are more than likely going to at least get an opportunity out of it, and that's what we saw happen right there.
And so the Cougars tie it up at 1 apiece as we move just under 8 minutes to go here in a few seconds. And Clancy doing a good job of getting that attacker off her back and getting to the ball. So let's see if the Cougars can set something up here. And a nice ball played down the line to Redden, but knocked out by a North Carolina Wesleyan player. But the Cougars back on top of it.
And Rulo, just a great job right there. Great decision. And and Brown's coming out. And Brown's saying, I'm not ever scared.
And Brown, the only other goalkeeper I see do that is a professional. He's Manuel Neuer, widely known as the best goalkeeper in the world, and he will come out and play well into the midfield to defend a shot. And that's what Brown was doing there, almost out here to the football 30, defending attackers. Definitely not something your coach wants to see you do is come way out of goal like that. But
no.
But she's a senior, and she knows what she's doing, and she has confidence in her game.
Well, and it's just that game knowledge, Eddie. You know, it's being able to say, okay, you know, I've got a little extra breathing room to come out. But Averett, of course, right now, not with a whole lot of breathing room, as NC Wesleyan is looking to push back in front after giving up the equalizer about 4 minutes ago. So Wesleyan, I think it took them about maybe 2 minutes to get on the board. Took Averett 36 minutes to respond, but they did respond, and we've got a 1-all game nearing the end of the first 45.
And I think a key to that was number 38, Sydney Nichols, who was on the field, but I don't see her on the field currently. She was a key when she was on the field at getting the ball turning and finding the right player and making the right play. Interesting to see if she will make her way back into the game.
I'm sure we will see her again because she did a great job of not only creating those, and there's a through ball right over the middle.
And Jacobs, like Brown, coming out because that was like you said, a fantastic through ball actually, trying to find Redding.
And that is going to go out for a Averett throw-in. A little header there from number 20, Rulo.
And Emer Redding, a senior as well, and her team has supreme confidence in her attacking abilities.
And for good reason. Emer has been a very big part of this Cougars attack over the past 3.5 years. And that ball just barely slides past her right there. But Redding doing a good job. Eddie, soccer is a game where you definitely have to know your position on the field, know where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there. And Redding does a good job of staying at home on that.
And especially in the attack, you make the wrong run or the right run too early, and you're called off sides, and that goal you just scored is not able to be put up on the board. And so here's the Cougars. Back to Morales playing back into their defense, but just because you play back into your defense does not mean it's necessarily a bad thing. It's a chance to reset for your team. You still have possession. You can still make play with the ball. It's just kind of a reset, for your team to allow some players to get into place. But here's North Carolina Wesleyan cutting through the middle of the field now. Ball gets from them, and Redden steps up and is able to cut that pass out.
Ball is played over the middle. Nice one-touch there to Redden. Redden a little bit too much on that. You always want to lead your attacker a little bit with the pass, and it's so hard trying to find that perfect ratio. It's kind of like trying to find the perfect ratio to hamburger and bun,
And a nice crowd here at Daly Field for the women's soccer game. I know that adds to the excitement, especially when you have that much support. It almost gives a boost to your skill level, makes you play that much better when you have people behind you and supporting you. So it's definitely going to be a positive for this women's soccer team here today.
Yes.
And so here goes the Cougars. I think that's actually a foul. And they're going to call it against the Cougars. That's actually really.
And we've got a little extra shoving going on after the play.
Again, a rather confusing, a puzzling call there. It seemed it was going to be an obvious call against North Carolina Wesleyan, but the referee down on the field saw it a little bit differently than we see it up in the press box. So he called it what he believed to be as the right call. Of course, we do have a very different view than most everybody else here at Daly Field. We can see everything almost from an all-seeing perspective from the top.
Yes,
So,
a bird's eye view.
right.
Panoramic. I want to say there was a name of talking about pop culture, I want to say there was an 80s band that was named Panoramic or something. We'll have to Google that at halftime. Like they were one of those one-hit wonder type deals.
And the free kick was sent in. Cougars, Wesleyan on top of the ball. Now they don't have the numbers, but they can make the right play, and they don't. The Cougars send it back to get a reset, get some players back into their defense.
Averett always has 3 back. Always. And they also have a couple of, as we were talking, you've got Clancy, who can also get the ball up front when need be. Hernandez is showing that she can do it. Rulo is showing she can do it as well.
And I think not quite sure.
I think it's a water timeout.
Actually, there's a Wesleyan player limping off the field.
Ah, okay, I
So
see.
A little injury break there. We must have slipped our field of vision. We were looking down.
And as we were talking about, as we just had the all-seeing view up here, too.
Right.
And then we jinxed ourselves, Eddie. That's what we did. We jinxed ourselves.
But it is good to see that Wesleyan player walking under her own power.
Yes.
We hate to see any players get injured, but it's always a good sign, at least, when you can walk under your own power off the field.
So Averett right now trying to get something going here. That's Rulo. And
Still
Rulo
on top
does a
of it.
nice job beating the shield.
And that ball was knocked out by Rulo. So under 2 minutes to go, just about a minute and a half remaining in this first half. Game is tied up at 1 apiece. Cougars looking to add to it.
So Emily Sullivan for the Battling Bishops has been a big part of NC Wesleyan's back line. Rankin, big part of the midfield.
And I do just want to give a shout-out. I see members of the tennis team here. I see members of the men's basketball team, women's basketball team. I see some football players. And I see I see the wrestling coaches, Coach Tommy Owens over there, hanging out as well.
And, Eddie, you know, I graduated from Averett University up about 2.5 hours away from here, and Division I school, about 10,000 kids maybe, and you know had a lot of good times up there, and you know made a lot of good friends and stuff. But you know coming here getting my MBA, you know Averett being a smaller school, really feel a lot more connection to Averett than I do Radford, and I think that connection is seen down here in the stands right now.
Right. And it's definitely a smaller campus. A lot of benefits to a smaller campus. And pretty much anybody that's a student, I can at least recognize one conversation I've had with them. And that's one thing that kind of makes me smile, knowing that I know almost every member of the school's campus. And it's not because I'm the most popular guy. It's because the school does a good job of developing that atmosphere. And Metter might be able to get a shot in the last 5 seconds. And she does. And had it not been deflected by number 17, Victoria Burkhardt, that shot might have been in because it was going far post. It was curving far post, and I don't think Jacobs would have been able to get to it. Metter was looking to add to her first goal of the day.
And so a heck of a way to end the first half there, Eddie. And we're going to go take a quick break, try to wet the whistles a little bit and give our voices a chance to kind of recover. But we will be back here in about 5 or 6 minutes with the FMS Halftime Show here on the Averett Sports Network. Averett NC Wesleyan, tied at 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to halftime here as Averett and North Carolina Wesleyan tied 1-1. One of our new features here during our halftime shows is one of our student interns, Grayson Eden, sits down and has a couple rapid-fire conversations with a couple players. And this week he sat down and talked with goalkeeper Bailey Brown for the Cougars, as well as freshman Bella Jaramillo. So this is his sit-down interviews with both of them.
Hi, I'm Grayson Eden with soccer player Bailey Brown. What were you like in high school?
I was the athletic nerd in high school.
What was the last thing you watched on TV?
Big Brother.
How old were you when you started playing soccer?
I was 5.
What was the name of your first coach?
Richie Drew.
What's your major?
I'm a double major in biomedical science and health psychology.
What inspires you?
My parents.
What are you known for?
Known for being the nerd.
What's something interesting about you?
I like to hike a lot.
What's your favorite food?
Mexican.
What did you do fun over the summer?
I babysat my 2 baby cousins that are 2 and 6 months old.
What is one of the weirdest questions you have been asked?
My family's from West Virginia, so I've been asked if my cousins are married.
Describe your team in 3 words.
Young, fun, and energetic.
Hi, I'm Grayson Eden with soccer player Bailey Brown. What were you like in high school?
I was the athletic nerd in high school.
What was the last thing you watched? Hi, I'm Grayson Eaton with soccer player Bella Jaramillo. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is yellow.
What's your favorite candy?
My favorite candy is dark chocolate.
Where are you from?
I am from Tampa, Florida.
Who was the last person you had a conversation with?
My best friends Ashley and Joe.
How old were you when you started playing soccer?
I was 8 years old.
Who was your first coach?
My first coach was my dad.
What's your major?
My major is biomedical sciences.
Who inspires you and why?
My dad inspires me the most because he's my role model.
What makes you unique?
I'm kind of weird and funny sometimes, so.
What's your favorite thing to do?
I just like hanging out with my friends a lot.
What did you do over the summer?
I worked at a restaurant and just played soccer.
Why do you like Averett?
I like that it's a small school and it's just a really nice environment. The people here are super nice and I feel super welcomed all the time.
What makes your team special?
My team is really special because we all stick together and work together. We hold each other accountable and we motivate each other to do our best all the time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Those were quick hitter interviews by Grayson Eden, and we'll be back here for the start of the second half. Live from Daly Field at Frank R. Campbell Stadium. It's homecoming weekend, and the Cougars and Bishops tied 1-1.
And welcome back to Daily Field at Frank R. Campbell Stadium. Again, it is the homecoming game for the women's soccer team as your Cougars take on the North Carolina Wesleyan battling Bishops. Again, my name is Eddie Glenn, and I am joined by Grayson Eaton. And Grayson, how are you doing so far today?
I'm doing great, and what a joy it is to finally be up here with you calling this soccer game on this lovely day today.
And it is. I always enjoy having the help, and especially when it comes from quality people as yourself. I know you've been watching, you've been learning, but
I have.
You're ready to get out here and you're ready to learn. I have full confidence in you. But nevertheless, this Cougar team is playing very well today.
They are playing great. They are really playing a great game today. One of the players that is really sticking out to me is player Emily Metter. She is really playing a great game today.
And you're absolutely right. She gets the ball and she's dribbling, having a very good day dribbling with the ball. And then she's making key passes. And then she had the goal notched on right in front of the keeper that squeaked into the bottom corner, and then she almost had another one in the last 5 seconds of the half.
She did. She almost scored right there at the end.
So both teams looking to come and surpass what they did, each one of them respectively, in the first half. We got another 45 minutes of action, and exciting because the first 45 minutes was very exciting soccer to watch. So I am ready to go. North Carolina Wesleyan will get the kickoff.
Yep, it looks like we're set to go here.
And that's actually Sydney Nichols back onto the field, who was a key member for this Wesleyan team, and then getting that first goal in the first 2 minutes of the game, making the right passes.
What a steal. Comes in from N.C. Wesleyan. They kick it out. We're going to have a throw in from, it looks like, Cowling here.
Red and trying to keep that ball in bounds, kind of got away from her. And that can happen when you've got your eyes. You're trying to watch the ball and dribble. You're trying to look upfield and find the next pass. So every now and again that ball can get away from you if you don't have that spidey sense almost of where the ball is. But nevertheless, Wesleyan with it. The Cougars are pressuring though. One thing that they did well in the first half was pressure the passers for Wesleyan.
It's like Cowling's got a hold of the ball. Again, she kicks it out to the side. I believe we're going to have a throw in by NC Wesleyan. She throws it in, goes right back out of.
And that ball went right where she wanted it. She tried to throw it in the box and was successful, but instead it found a Cougar instead of a battling Bishop. So North Carolina Wesleyan will set up for a corner kick, which, as always, can provide a team with a goal as that ball's going to come up in the air.
Great kick
it comes
by the
off
player
the
and
foot.
into the goal.
And Wesleyan, again, in the first 2 minutes, they're very good at getting their goals in the first 2 minutes. The assist from number 26, Sarah Cook. And Wesleyan, again, on the board in the first 2 minutes once again. But the Cougars, no need to worry because like in the first half, you can bounce back and score another goal and tie it up and even add on another one. So nothing to worry about if you're a Cougar or a Cougar fan. You just got to get your head back in the game.
That's exactly right. These ladies are playing really well today. Ball in the air. Like she passes it. One of the Cougars passes it to another fellow Lady Cougar. Battling over the ball right now.
So a throw in for the Cougars. Cowling will step up. And she's going to find Redding. It's a good throw. Putting Redding in position, but the Cougars will get a throw in from valuable position up, probably inside the football 20 here. So Cowling trying to find Redding again. And Wesleyan's going to let that ball dribble out for a goal kick for Jacobs. And Jacobs has had a pretty good game so far, a few saves he had a day. As Tania Hernandez has sent a couple of shots her way, especially from inside the box. So Jacobs having a great game. Only letting that one from Metter squeak through.
Metter passes it to one of her fellow Cougars. Still in the Cougars' possession. Wesleyan steals it. Cougar back in the hands of the Cougars.
And that ball, it'll do that sometimes. It'll just kind of get knocked around between both teams, and no one really shows clear possession, just kind of playing kickball out there on the field. And like the Cougars, again, are going to get a throw in very good position. Morales might be able to put this into the box and let the Cougars make a play.
Nice throw in. And ends up back in the possession of NC Wesleyan. Running it down the field here.
Good pass from North Carolina Wesleyan, but cut out by Clancy. But Nichols has it. She tries a rainbow.
These Lady Cougars are fighting for this ball. Second half of this game. We're seeing both of these teams are stepping it up here in this second round, trying to go for this win.
And here's North Carolina Wesleyan with a look at goal, and Bailey Brown able to turn it away. And Grayson, you were telling me you're a big racing fan, and I can imagine, if you're a racer and you don't get those first few laps to go your way, how do most racers try and, keep their head in the race after maybe not the first 5 or 10 laps going their way? How do they keep their head in the game to try and finish strong?
Well, they just keep working on it. They adjust several of their settings. They pit. They talk with their pit crew, and they just keep working on it. And that's about what these Lady Cougars have to do today. They just have to keep working on trying to complete their passes. They have to keep working on getting the goals. And with a star player like Bailey Brown as the goalie, it's very tough for NC Wesleyan to complete the goals to get by her.
And, a lot of pretty much any sport you play, just about any sport, will work off the same principle of it's not always how you start, it's how you finish. The team that finishes strong usually comes out with the win at the end. And whether it's racing or soccer or field hockey or football, teams can get out to a 3-touchdown lead and still lose. You can give up the 99% of the race and still win that last lap, and just like that, you've won.
Yep, and in racing, the best car doesn't always win. That could be how some of these soccer games today or any other day go.
And that's how it is. A lot of teams come in a little overconfident, overzealous. You get that first goal, you get a little chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, it's very easy to have a great week in practice and you think you're on top of things, and then come in the game and you figure out the next team has the edge on you.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a little bit better than what you thought. And as you mentioned in halftime, I just want to redirect the conversation a little bit here. It is a very stout crowd here for this women's soccer game.
It is. I took a walk down past the stands during the half break, and it is a lot of Cougar fans here today supporting their fellow Lady Cougars as they play NC Wesleyan.
And I went out back into the parking lot, and the tailgating has already begun for people tailgating for soccer, and then people have already started for the football game, which doesn't start till 6 o'clock. And they even started tailgating when I got here at 12. So these Cougar fans are serious about what they do, and the Cougars are actually on the run here. Can they make the right play? This is Hernandez with it. She plays it over to Metter. Metter moving toward the middle of the field, sends a shot at Jacobs, and
she catches it.
Like you said, easily scooped up. When I went out to look at the tailgating, I saw our president, Dr. Franks, and her husband, Joe Franks, out there as they were walking up into the game. They sat down and spoke to a couple of the tailgaters. As always, very friendly people they are. And even, had a conversation with them, and they were telling me how excited they were for this game and the football game, as they're going to be in the president's suite right below us on the second floor. And the president is really an active president. She is she tries to be at most of our athletic events, and for a president with a schedule that's as busy as hers to take her nights off to come back to Averett, to come out to these games, is something that means a lot to these athletes and students who aren't even a part of athletics. To see your president at the games right there in the front row cheering you on is something that a lot of schools don't have.
Yep, that's right. You know, Averett is known for their family-oriented nature, and it starts at the top with our president, Dr. Tiffany Franks.
And it does. And she is, like I said, such a nice individual. She tells you, everybody, your freshman year, if our front door is open at home, you can walk right in.
Yep, she will tell you that.
So a throw-in coming for the Cougars. Score still 2-1. Wesleyan still out in front. Cougars still searching for that game-tying goal.
Throw in by Cowling.
A little too hard, but can Hernandez chase it down? Not before Jacobs can get a hold of it.
Jacobs is a strong goalie in her own right.
And so Morales watches that ball go out of bounds for a throw-in. And as we mentioned, Coach David Duino earlier, he is down here talking to Coach Romna, strength and conditioning coach for all these athletic teams, who does such a great job. And here's Metter. Cougars still have it in good position. And ball finally cut out by North Carolina Wesleyan. And just want to speak on Coach Rome a little bit. Rome, every morning I see on our Averett strength and conditioning page, he's posting. And actually,
player down on the field.
Rullo took a hard hit.
Up. Yes, she did. These Lady Cougars are tough.
And we're going to have a free kick given
right
to the
back
Cougars at the football 11. And so Redden will be the one taking the free kick. And this is in scoring territory for Emer Redden. And she steps up, and looked like she wanted to put it inside the box, but just a little bit too much on it.
Nice shot by Redding, though.
And Rullo, a tough player, taking that nasty spill, and she's right back up, running around, ready to go.
Yeah, like I said, these Lady Cougars are tough. And these NC Wesleyan ladies, they're pretty tough as well. So got a tough group of ladies out here today, fighting hard for this win in this game. It's a close match so far. NC Wesleyan up 2-1. Set up another throw in by Cowling, and it's going to go back out.
And so here we go with Callan. She might try and find Redden. And she does off the throw in. Redden gives it off to Hernandez. Hernandez fights through a defender.
Fighting.
Still looking for the ball. Cougars end up with it. And Wesleyan trying to clear it out. Callan tries to step up and play some good defense, but a free kick, I believe, will be given to North Carolina Wesleyan.
It's almost like a match of kickball, like you say sometimes, Eddie. You know, the ball is just going back and forth between both teams. I haven't seen neither team within the past few seconds have a full grasp on the ball yet. It seems we're having some discussion on the field currently.
Yeah, the free kick was given to Wesleyan, and Redden stood right in front of the ball, and Wesleyan kicked it off of Redden's legs, and then so they're going to reset on the free kick for Wesleyan. And that ball sent way deep into the box. Play back to Brown. The Cougars might be able to, if they could play the Metter here, that would be ideal. And they actually looked like they might have been able to find Metter, but she was overrunning the ball. Didn't think the defender would run over it.
And Brown had a nice kick straight in the middle of the field to football 50.
And a questionable play. I thought there might have been a clear push from number 26, Sarah Cook. But the referee calls it fair soccer, just some tough soccer going on. Ball being bounced around back and forth. No team showing a clear possession.
No, they are not. It's about like that game of kickball.
And Nichols with it. This could spell trouble for the Cougars.
Yes. They're going to have a tough time getting it past the Cougar goalie, Bailey Brown, however.
Mayer doing a good job on defense there to turn Nichols away. But Wesleyan will reset, cutting across top of the box.
Nice pass by
And
Wesleyan.
Brown comes out.
And it's goal. Goal by NC Wesleyan.
And I'm trying to get a number off of that. Bailey Brown came out but couldn't get down into the ball.
And NC Wesleyan leads now 3-1. So the Cougars did not want to see that goal.
And I'm not sure on a number for that goal. But like you said, the Battling Bishops up 3-1 now. And the Cougars still definitely not out of it. A lot of soccer left to be played. Over 30 minutes of soccer, that is, to be played. I'm going to call a handball. And Redden getting ready for the free kick. And Mayer's going to call her off and say, hey, I'm going to put this into the box. Let's get a goal on the board.
Yeah, I think she's going to go for it here. She's looking for a clear shot to pass.
And that ball sent in.
Passes it.
And the Cougars will stay on top of it. And a little bit too much power on the pass. So
It's got to get back in the hands of the NC Wesleyan goalkeeper. She kicks it in.
And the Cougars on top of the ball. They can make some nice passes here and set themselves up nicely. Cut out by Wesleyan. And Nichols, the great passer she is, found Cook, but Cook couldn't take it off her foot the way she wanted it to.
NC Wesleyan heading towards the goal again.
And that's Redden playing way back into the defense.
Yes. Back in the possession of Wesleyan here. Now the Cougars get it.
And that ball taken to the stomach. And that's number 17, Victoria Burkhart, who took that goal or that ball to the stomach.
So that was a nasty hit from here in the press box.
And we're going to take a quick break while she's attended to by the athletic training staff. We'll be back here on the Averett Sports Network.
Going back to school is not just for the kids. Averett University has degree programs for working adults who want to pursue their bachelor's or master's online or on campus. Visit gps.averett.edu for more information.
You're doing great. You're doing fantastic.
Oh, smells good.
Oh, yeah. And we are back as Burkhart was able to get up and walk off under her own power. Again, looks like maybe just the wind was knocked out of her. Caught her by surprise to take that off the chest like that. But, again, whenever a player goes down, we love to see them able to get back up and walk off without assistance.
Yes, and that was a very nasty hit. It shows you that the training that these ladies do during the week really pays off. It really gives them that extra boost of strength to be able to withstand some of these hard impacts that they take on the field.
And so Cougars, I believe, will have to give possession back to Wesleyan. That ball is kicked down the field. So knocked out by a Wesleyan player. A throw in will be given to the Cougars. Substitute coming in.
Morales with the throw in.
Here's the Cougars working across the top of the box.
Yes, they're getting close.
And trying to touch and go there was the Cougars, but a little bit too much power on the pass. And that's something with being freshmen that you will develop with your chemistry, knowing how fast your teammate is on that touch and go. You'll be able to put it right on that foot that they need to take the shot with. But, you know, just a little bit too much on the pass, and that's something, it's an opportunity you hate to pass up on.
Yep, I spoke with Coach McTighe earlier this week, and she is really, really working with these Cougars. She's a great mentor to these ladies.
And this isn't good for the Cougars. Bailey Brown came out trying to defend that ball, and it got past her, but traveled out of bounds. So North Carolina Wesleyan not able to capitalize on the wide open net, and Brown will receive a goal kick.
Fighting for the ball currently. It's like the Cougars have it as of now. Back to NC Wesleyan. NC Wesleyan with possession.
Cross sent in and sent out of bounds.
Yep, NC Wesleyan still unable to complete the goal past goalie Bailey Brown for the Cougars.
So another goal kick given.
Here's Emily Metter again fighting for the ball as she passes it to one of her fellow Cougars. Averett still with the ball currently. Emily Metter back with it.
And Emily Metter trying to nice pass around that defender to set up Hernandez, but didn't get what she wanted. But Nichols
back towards the goal does NC Wesleyan, but still unable to complete as the ball goes out of bounds.
So a corner kick given.
Yes.
And this will be number 26, Sarah Cook, the junior out of New York. She's going to take this corner.
The kick thrown into the game bounces over top of the goal, outside of the field actually.
So the whistle's blown. Goal kick will be set up by Bailey Brown.
This ball, as of late, has almost been like a ping pong ball. It's been going everywhere on this field.
And Perez trying her best to get to it, but just could not chase it down as it rolled out of bounds. So possession, like you said, ping pong back and forth. This time going over to Wesleyan.
Yes, and I see Averett president, who we were just talking about, Dr. Tiffany Frank. She is looking on the sidelines at her Lady Cougars as they fight for this win. About 25 minutes on the clock left in the game, so still time for the Cougars to come back. Once again, they are playing a great game today. Ball still bouncing around like a ping pong ball. No real clear possession of the ball by either teams. So we're going to have another throw in here by Cowling. Metter steals the ball.
So let's see if the Cougars can set something up. Metter. That ball comes off of Cook. So Cowling with another throw in as the sun is peeking its way out of the clouds, making everything nice and bright.
Yes, it's been partly cloudy here for about the last half hour or so, so it's great to see the sunshine.
So Cowling. Enter Hernandez. And the ball not out of danger for Wesleyan. Ball played over to Metter. She gets past her defenders, plays back. Ball played into the box, but nothing comes of it. So another throw in for the Cougars.
Cowling throwing the ball again. If the Cougars tripped up, I believe that's player 6. She immediately gets back up. As Jacobs goes to fetch the ball. She's going to send it into the field.
And you mentioned President Dr. Franks down there in the bleachers, right up front on the gate, watching with the rest of the staff, well, with the rest of the Cougar fans, but also the Dean of Students there, Leslie Villarose, right there as well, front and center, watching and supporting her Cougars. And as we mentioned, just about every Cougar sports team represented here right now in the bleachers supporting this Cougars women's soccer team. And Wesleyan with a nice touch and go. Here they go. This is Cook sending a shot cut out by Mayer. And another shot sent by Cook. That one wide right, really wide right. So a goal kick for Blake, or for Brown, I'm sorry, Bailey Brown.
Brown getting ready to send it into the field as she does. Sends it about to football 40. Metter with the ball. Is desperately looking for another one of the Cougars.
The fans in the bleachers are doing every Cougar's favorite cheer, and that is the Cougar Rumble.
Yes, these fans, I tell you, they are really getting into this game today. Great show of support here from the fans to these Cougars.
And Bailey Brown, what a save.
Brown, wow, she is great. What a save by her.
Able to dive and keep it in front of her and then get on top of the ball. What an effort by Bailey Brown.
Yes, and Brown, she has been moving all over her end of the court all day, coming out as much as football 30.
And so the Cougars play it into their attack. Hernandez with it. She plays it, tries to play it forward, but the Cougars still have possession. So ball played wide to Perez. Perez settles before the ball goes out of bounds. Back over to Hernandez. Hernandez turns inside. She goes over to number 6. And the Cougars get another throw in.
Looks like Cowling once again getting ready to throw the ball in. She does. Oh, and one of the Cougars trips up.
And great defense there from Mayer to cut that pass out.
Here comes Brown again, football 10, defending that ball.
And you actually see Bradley Jefferson over there with his headphones in, watching the game, probably visualizing what he's going to do in this football game a little bit later on today. Bradley Jefferson, one of the absolute best defenders in the conference when it comes to football. And not only defenders, but players on special teams. He is absolutely one of the best. And Hernandez chasing this ball down. Played back to Jacobs.
Jacobs kicks it back into the field, hoping one of her NC Wesleyan players can back her up. Ball's up in the air. Heading back towards Bailey Brown as she grabs a hold of the ball. Brown with the kick in.
And Metter.
Metter trips up.
And a free kick will be given to the Cougars. And I believe Redden will be on top of this free kick. And so Redden has good position for the free kick. Ball sent at goal. And Jacobs able to get her hands to it. And Metter with it. And cut out by a Wesleyan player, but Sarah Cook chasing it down. Bailey Brown might have work cut out for her. And it was deflected by a Cougar. Cougar still not out of trouble. That ball just knocked way out of bounds.
Yes, these players are fighting now as the clock is winding down to about 17 minutes left in the game. And our Cougars here in the stands, they are getting rowdier, I think. As the clock ticks down, they are getting really, really loud down there in those stands. We're able to hear them here in the press box now.
And you can just almost feel the excitement in the air. Almost you can feel it. It's almost contagious of how excited these fans are to be here watching their Cougars play.
And it is that. We've got should be exciting football game coming up next after these Cougars and NC Wesleyan players finish this game off. Oh, and one of the NC Wesleyan players has a fall near football 20.
And she gets up looking for a foul. Like, hey, you could blow that whistle my way as well. It doesn't only go one way, but
yeah.
The referee calls it good soccer. But they get possession anyway on the throw-in. So, nevertheless, Wesleyan with possession, battling for it. The Cougars ended up with it, but a foul was called, so Wesleyan will get that free kick that they were asking for. And that ball sent way forward. And Clancy there to turn it away. A corner kick set up. Going to be set up for the battling Bishops. And they did that. One of their goals did come from a corner kick. So let's see if the Cougars can defend well. Ball turned away, but not out of the box. And Cowling with the good clearance. And so here we go. Ball tried to play down the wing. Redden lets it dribble out of bounds so we can take a free throw, excuse me.
Cougars with the throw-in, Redden. Ball, and it's up here in the stands with our Cougar fans. NC Wesleyan with the throw in it. Once again, it's just like a ping pong match. It's
Right.
going back and forth between both of the teams.
And Dr. Frank's taking pictures with the kids here at Frank R. Campbell
She
Stadium.
is. Actually taking pictures of a nice Cougar supporting family here at the stadium. Dr. Franks is always so socially involved here.
And again, just one of the most nicest people you'll meet is Dr. Franks.
She is. She never meets a stranger, as they say.
Right. And so a throw in for the Cougars. Morales will take over throw in duties.
A fall by
foul
one
call.
of the Cougars. Yeah, foul. It's about time these Cougars are going to have to start making something happen here if they are going to catch back up to NC Wesleyan with just about 13 minutes left in the game. So it is go time for these Cougars.
And as you mentioned, running out of daylight as far as time on the clock goes, and the Cougars need to kind of, I know they're feeling the pressure. They're wanting to ramp it up as far as attack goes. And so you could look at them probably start to take a little bit more shots outside the box, inside the box, is trying their best to get that ball moving towards the goal. And that's Metter taking it off the shoulder and trying to get it out to Rulo. There you go, that ping pong ball again that you were talking about.
Yeah. Just back and forth, back and forth. One minute you think NC Wesleyan has possession, and then the next few seconds, our Cougars have it. This looks like.
Ball traveled out of bounds as
Yep.
number 4, Madeline Williams, tried to keep it in bounds for her Battling Bishop team.
And our fans, these Cougar fans are really, they are cheering on. Cowling with the throw in. Hoping one of her fellow Cougars can grab possession. And out on the sidelines again goes the ball. Throw in by NC Wesleyan. Cowling snatches it away momentarily. Back to NC Wesleyan. Now the ball is once again on the sidelines. Cougars with the throw in once again, and it's that quick. NC Wesleyan's going to have their shot at throwing it in. NC Wesleyan with a pretty good pass there. They seem like they have possession over the ball currently.
And the Cougars, again, looking to get possession and keep possession for as much as possible as we move under 10 minutes in this game.
Yes, it is go time for the Cougars. If they are going to make something happen in this game, they do not want to get within under 5 minutes and still be down 2 points.
And for sure, that's not a situation that the Cougars want to happen or look forward to having. But if that is something that they want to change, they're going to have to start attacking more. And I can
Yes.
expect to see that to ramp up as substitutes are being made.
Yes, and if all possible, the Cougars need at least one goal within the next 4 minutes, I would think, for them to be able to make something happen here in the closing minutes of this game.
And I think for Wesleyan, Nichols just checked back in, and they go right to her off the throw-in, and she is not able to keep it in bounds on Morales. Possession still with Averett on the throw.
Dr. Franks down there, she is getting these fans rowdy. She's kind of the ringleader down there in the stands.
Wesleyan sending that ball down the field. Clancy trying to cut it out. Nichols with it now. Nichols moves past Clancy.
Yeah, the Cougars are fighting. They are fighting to get that ball. Still, as the ball goes towards Bailey Brown, and she catches it.
And Bailey Brown had to extend high to get that one. That ball was headed towards the top corner of the goal. Bailey Brown snags it out of the air.
Yeah, Brown kicking it in now, looking for her Cougars. It's like Metter kicks it to player Cougar number 16 here as NC Wesleyan once again just steals the ball as number 16 was unable to complete a proper pass there to one of her teammates.
And you see the Cougars just trying to move that ball down the field as much as possible. And here's Redden with it. Over to Metter. Metter back to
Great
Redden.
pass by Redding to Metter there. Now back in the possession of NC Wesleyan. Now it's coming back towards the Cougars.
And here we go. Perez trying to get that ball, but Cowling will ultimately grab a hold of it. And Johnny Perez
fighting here.
keeping possession in Cougar territory. So another throw in for the Cougars, closer as they move closer to the box.
If all possible, the Cougars need to make something happen here, or at least have a shot at getting the ball in the goal. The clock is winding down here. About 6.5 minutes left in this game.
And a nice pass. And Metter called offsides. As that would have been a great pass to find Metter moving towards goal. She would have been able to either find a nice pass or line up to go near post. And here's the Cougars with a chance.
Got it. And they missed it.
Just wide right from Rulo.
Oh, they needed that goal. The Cougars needed that goal so desperately.
Rulo moving towards goal. She just pushed it wide right, trying to keep it away from Jacobs. And Redden stays on top of it. Perez.
The fans are getting really anxious in the stands.
And so here's Cowling with it. She can make a nice play trying to find Redden.
These players are fighting now as we near on 5 minutes left in the game. Current score, NC Wesleyan up 3-1 against Averett. And the Cougars know that they have to make something happen here as we are now under 5 minutes left in the game.
And what a pass from Nichols to flip fields. But a great job there from Rulo. Great defense.
Ball still in the field. Still up for grabs here. Goes back in.
And Morales
Yeah.
able to get to it, and she gives it off to Rulo. And Rulo, with the touch and go, just a little bit too much power on it. Under 5 minutes, just under 4.5 actually, to go in this game. The Cougars are going to have to play with some hyper speed here.
Yeah, I think these Cougars are getting all they can get here as the game is currently winding down. What the Cougars do not want to do in this situation is panic. They need to keep their cool and keep their focus. This game is winding down under 4 minutes now. Nearing 3.5 minutes left. We have a ping pong match going again, and this is not what we need in the closing of this game.
And here goes Hernandez moving past her defender. And she kicks it out, so possession stays with Averett Cowling on the throw as we move under 3 minutes now.
Cowling with a nice kick, but it seems like Metter may have a shot here to get. She's fighting with player 22 of NC Wesleyan.
And here's Redden with it.
Redden kicks it towards the goal. She tried, but Jacobs was there to catch the ball and defend her goal.
And Redden just trying anything to get that ball to go inside the net.
It's like Redden with the ball again. Cougars are fighting here. Bailey Brown with the kick in.
And so I believe a couple of substitutes coming in for Wesleyan. Trying to keep some players fresh, maybe even get a few players some playing time here in the closing minutes. Just over 2 minutes left in this game.
The Cougars are not giving up. Like I said, they are trying to get all they can get here in the final. What's closing in on minute and 45 seconds here.
And so the Cougars trying to move past those defenders. Not able to break the ice here, but Rulo with it. She's got a defender trailing.
Oh, wow.
And that's going to be a foul.
Yes, that was.
That might warrant a card, but it doesn't. Redden is going to try and send this in the box and play quick. Just over a minute, moving under a minute, actually. Ball sent into the box.
Redden with a nice kick there, but teammates just. It's one of the Cougars sends it towards the goal, but Jacobs once again defends her side of her side.
And the Cougars need to attack Jacobs, or else she's just going to stand there with the ball.
40 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, Jacobs had every right to just stand there with the ball until someone came up to force her to grab it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what our Cougars were doing there.
Yeah,
20 seconds left in the game.
Jacobs might take her. This game might end before Jacobs gets up to the goal kick line. She's going to take her sweet time with this, and she's going to waste as much time as possible. Just 10 seconds left here. The Cougars do lose it 3-1 here against North Carolina Wesleyan.
Yeah, NC Wesleyan with the win here. Great game played by both teams, though. Cougars played a really good game today. I saw a lot of the techniques that they worked on in practice pay off today. They're moving closer. Cougars are gaining strength here. The season is nearing closing. The season closes towards the end of October.
And so, Grayson, it was a great half of soccer calling for you and your
Was.
first
Thank
time
you.
broadcasting, and you did a fantastic job
Thank
here.
you so much. It was great broadcasting with you on this sunny day here at Averett University.
And we asked that we want to thank you for joining us here for this homecoming women's matchup, again featuring your Averett Cougars against the North Carolina Wesleyan battling Bishops. And we asked that you join us at about 5:30, where we're going to have your Averett University Cougars going up against Greensboro here for the football game, closing out homecoming week here at Frank R. Campbell Stadium.